Your gaze is not passive. It is an act of creation. And if you direct it with care, with compassion, with curiosity, with reverence, you can shape the world not as it is, but as it longs to become. You can collapse it into kindness, into connection, into coherence. And yet we are trained to think of truth as something we uncover, as if the world lies out there, waiting to be found, and our job is to remove the layers of distortion and finally see it for what it is. But maybe truth doesn't pre-exist our awareness. Maybe it crystallizes under the heat of our attention, like frost forming on glass. Maybe we do not find truth. Maybe we birth it. Each act of observation, a kind of midwifery. Each question not a request for information, but a lever that rearranges the answer itself. And this isn't to say that reality is illusion or that facts are fiction. It's to say that reality is participatory, that knowledge is relational, that even the hardest edges of the world are softened by the brush of our consciousness. And once you accept that, you begin to move differently. You look more gently, you listen more deeply, because you know that the very act of doing so is transformative, not just for what you observe, but for who you become. So next time you think you're simply watching, pausing, assessing, analyzing, remember the mirrors, remember the particles, remember that nothing you see is untouched by your seeing, that your awareness is not an idle spectator, but an instrument of reality. You are the ripple in the pond that starts the waves. You are the question that rewrites the past. You are the observer collapsing ambiguity into meaning. And every moment you pay attention, you leave a mark, not just on what is seen, but on the unseen field from which all things emerge. The world, then, is not a stage set before your arrival. It is a script that adapts to your gaze, a story still being written every time you open your eyes. And maybe, just maybe, the most radical thing you can do in a world like this is to look with love. Quantum entanglement. Particles are linked across the universe. Suppose you and another person each hold half of an ancient shattered mirror, two jagged pieces that once belonged to the same whole. You walk away in opposite directions, unaware that the reflections within each shard remain mysteriously connected. One day, as you tilt your fragment ever so slightly, the angle of light changes not only on your side, but, impossibly, on theirs, miles away. Not through signal, not through space, not even through time, but instantly, silently, as if the glass still believes it is unbroken. That's the essence of quantum entanglement, one of the most baffling and beautiful features of our universe. It tells us that particles once joined remain linked forever, no matter how far they drift apart. Not metaphorically, not poetically, but physically, at a level so deep it defies our language. When one of these entangled particles changes state, the other does too, immediately, across vast distances, faster than the speed of light, as if distance were irrelevant, as if space itself were an illusion, as if the universe had no local parts, but only relationships echoing through an invisible web of connection. This is not a metaphorical suggestion. This is the cold, crisp reality of quantum physics. And yet, what it implies is warmer, more intimate, more human than we were ever taught to expect. That separation may be an illusion, that distance may be negotiable, that perhaps everything, everyone, is entangled at a level we are only just beginning to glimpse. Entanglement begins innocently enough. Two particles interact, they collide or are created in a shared event, and they become entangled, meaning their states are no longer independent. Measure one, and the other's state is instantly known. But it's more than just information sharing. It's not that one particle tells the other what to do. It's that both particles are expressions of the same deeper reality, the same joint state. To speak of them as separate is already to lie. Einstein, troubled by this, famously called it spooky action at a distance, because it seemed to violate the speed limit of the cosmos, the sacred law that nothing can travel faster than light. And yet time and again, entangled particles behaved in lockstep. their outcomes correlated in ways no classical signal could explain. Experiments by Bell, Aspect, and others confirmed what Einstein resisted. The universe is not built from independent objects, but from interwoven patterns, holistic configurations, entangled states that defy locality. In other words, the universe does not consist of things in space. It consists of space-spanning relationships, like spiderwebs stretching across eternity, vibrating together without regard for distance. And here's the truly radical part. This entanglement does not fade. With separation, you can send one particle to the other side of the Earth, or the galaxy, and their connection remains intact. Entanglement is not like a thread that stretches and thins with distance. It's more like two ends of a dimension you don't understand, where proximity isn't about closeness, but about correlation. Space, as you know it, is background noise to their bond. The measurement of one instantaneously determines the outcome of the other, not through signal, but through a kind of shared being. This violates every instinct we have about how the world should work. We think in terms of cause and effect, in terms of here and there. But quantum mechanics laughs at those distinctions. It suggests a universe where parts are illusions, where the whole is primary, and where what happens to one piece is inseparable from what happens to another, regardless of space, regardless of time. And if that sounds philosophical, it should, because quantum entanglement doesn't just challenge our physics, it challenges our ontology. It challenges what it means to be separate, to be individual, to be alone. Let's pull this into your world. Imagine your emotions entangled with another's across distance. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and a moment later, they call. Coincidence? Maybe. But what if your thoughts, your choices, your inner world are not sealed inside your skull, but radiate into a shared field? What if consciousness itself is entangled? Some physicists speculate that entanglement is the basis of spacetime itself, that the geometry of reality arises from patterns of quantum connection. If true, then the separation you feel from others is not fundamental. It's constructed, an illusion born of perspective. And if so, then love, empathy, grief, these aren't just feelings, they're evidence. Evidence that our boundaries are porous, that our being extends beyond our bodies, that we resonate with others not metaphorically, but literally, at the deepest levels of physical law. You are not a closed system. You are an open node in a cosmic lattice. Your choices, your observations, your feelings, they ripple outward in ways no eye can see. And the same is true of everyone you've ever touched. We are not alone. We are entangled. And this raises a difficult, profound question. If your actions affect others in ways you cannot perceive, what responsibility do you carry? If your internal state is entangled with the world's unfolding, how carefully must you tend to it? The observer effect showed us that watching changes what is seen. Entanglement shows us that being is already shared. So what kind of world are you collapsing into being through your attention, your presence, your pain? We spend our lives trying to protect our independence, to fortify the walls between self and other. But entanglement offers a counter-truth, that your fate is tied to others. That isolation is a fiction. That every decision you make participates in the state of a larger whole. And this isn't a soft, poetic gesture. It's a hard, mathematical claim. The universe is built from entanglement. Reality itself may be emergent from these correlations. There is no fundamental thing, only relationships. The basic unit of reality is not a particle, but a connection. This is not just physics. It is a revolution in worldview. Entanglement asks us to abandon the myth of separateness, not just between particles, but between people, between moments, between intentions and consequences. It suggests that when you suffer, someone else trembles. That when you hope, the universe brightens, not metaphorically, but in measurable, entangled states. And perhaps this is why we cry in movies, why we flinch at the pain of strangers, why we feel when a loved one enters the room without seeing them, because the threads that link us are not imaginary. They are quantum. We are haunted not by ghosts, but by the physics of connection. And the more you open to this possibility, the more the world changes shape. You stop seeing objects and start seeing patterns. You stop seeking control and start seeking coherence. You begin to listen for the harmony between things, instead of the boundaries that separate them. But how far does this go? Could the entire universe be one grand entangled system? Could the Big Bang have birthed not billions of particles, but one universal wave function, entangled across all of space and time? In that view, you are not a being in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself through a particular lens. Your memories, your choices, your relationships, these are not isolated data points. They are coordinates in a web that spans stars. And this leads to an unsettling possibility that there may be no randomness, only correlation, that your thoughts are connected to others in ways deeper than language, that your perception is not confined to your eyes, that intuition, coincidence, synchronicity, these are not quirks. They are glimpses of the entangled whole. So what do you do with this? How do you live in a world where everything is connected at a level beyond comprehension? You begin by looking, again, at the ones around you, not as separate minds, but as shared participants in a dance too complex to map. You begin to treat your words, your moods, your attention not as private acts, but as vibrations sent down an infinite string. You stop asking, is this mine or theirs? And start asking, what are we creating together? Because in an entangled universe, you don't get to act alone. Every gesture is a duet. Every thought is a chord. Every breath is an echo. And when you see this, truly see it, something inside you shifts. The loneliness begins to crack. The silence begins to hum. And you realize that the world has always been whispering. You are not alone. You were never alone. You couldn't be alone even if you tried. A particle can take every path until it's observed. Imagine you're standing at a grand crossroads at midnight, surrounded by countless roads, each stretching into a different possibility. Foggy mountain passes, sunlit highways, ancient forest trails, crumbling city streets, and even invisible paths that twist upward into the stars. You haven't moved yet, but somehow you've taken them all. In a way that defies common sense, you've walked every trail, arrived at every destination, lived every outcome. But then, just as you take your first real step, a light flicks on above you. A camera clicks, observation arrives, and in that moment, the illusion vanishes. The other paths collapse into silence, and only one road remains beneath your feet, the one that now seems inevitable. This is not a metaphor for life. This is quantum reality. At the smallest scales, particles do not travel a single tidy path from point A to point B. Instead, they explore every possible route simultaneously in a kind of shimmering super-reality that unfolds beyond space and time. Richard Feynman, one of the pioneers of quantum theory, introduced the path into